great day. Hey, welcome to the House of Cons. I'm Blackjack. Try boy with me one more time. Salute the 203 Low Gang in the house. Loyal supporters.
Shakalaka!
And salute to everybody in the house. Y'all do me a favor, go ahead and hit the like. Subscribe to the channel if you ain't done so already, and share the video to every Naga you know. Salute. Got another good show lined up. Editing history. Talking about the American slave trade, my Naga. Salute. And on the thumbnail, we're looking at the thumbnail from a third eye point of view. We got 1619, you know. They say it's a historical year or historical time, right? It's funny how they only talk about you all the time. They want to say, you know, well, when did the so-called black people get in America? They say, oh yeah, we got a date. 1619. They give a date. They don't really give a date to nobody else, right? I guess they know when everybody else came after 1492, but they want to say you came in 1619. That's their answer for you. Hey, salute to Michael Brown in the house. Salute. But we're gonna talk about it, like I say, we are editing history, my Naga. We editing history. The American slave trade, to be exact. They say 1619. They say, when did black people get there? They say 1619. And we're looking at the thumbnail from a third eye point of view. We got Dave Chappelle on there with the 1619 stamp across the front. We're trying to make a point about something, and we're gonna look at some evidence to get into what we're talking about. But let's start off with the historical narrative, because they say you were a slave. They say you were descendant of a slave, and they say you came from Africa, because this is what Google say. This is what Google say. I typed in 20 and odd Negroes, 1619. Google say it says 20 and odd Negroes. It say the AI overview is a phrase used to describe the first enslaved Africans. Wait a minute. Why didn't it just say 20 and odd Africans? See, man, they just be saying anything and think you supposed to just accept it and move on, but I'm not the type to accept things. I take my time and read. It says 20 and odd Negroes is a phrase used to describe the first enslaved Africans. Who's to say they was Africans? It just says Negroes. Why didn't it say 20 and odd Africans is my question. To arrive in the British colony of Virginia in 1619. Bronze Flat Power God in the house. Salute.
Boom shakalaka!
So somehow 20 and odd Negroes got turned into 20 and odd Africans. And we're gonna look at it. It says the first ship carrying enslaved Africans arrived at Old Point Comfort on August 25th, 1619. The ship was an English privateer that captured the Africans from a Spanish slave ship. So right away, old McDonald in the house. Salute. So right away, you know, this is a flawed, if not fictitious story, because those 20 and odd Negroes was not Africans. They was in fact Americans. But we're gonna dig into the story some, and we're gonna show you where we're coming from with this, because we're gonna run with their narrative. We're gonna say, okay, we know you're lying. We know you're lying. But since you want to take that stance, we finna play chess with you. We playing chess, not checkers. Since you want to say 1619, we're going to give you that. Even though we know you lying, but we'll give you that lie. We'll say, we'll play along with you, wink, wink. Okay, 20 Africans in 1619, right? They say that's how, they say, next thing you know, this thing turned into 50 million Negroes today. That's what they want you to believe. But let's point it out. Let's walk it down. 305 War Chief in the house. Salute.
Boom shakalaka!
20 and odd Negroes, an excerpt from a letter. It ain't say in the letter they ain't mention Africa at all. They just said Negroes. An excerpt from a letter from John Rolfe to Sir Edwin Sandys, 1619/1620. They don't even know like the exact date, I guess. This excerpt from a letter to Sir Edwin Sandys, treasurer of the Virginia Company of London, the Jamestown colonizer. John Rolfe describes events in the Virginia colony. These include the first meetings of the General Assembly, a murder trial, and a controversy involving the Indian language interpreter, Captain Henry Spelman. He also notes the arrival of 20 and odd Negroes. Now look, they say, the people that wrote this, the first Africans in Virginia.
You big dummy.
Well, let's see what the letter itself say. Full text, page 241. Honored sir, studying with myself what service I might do y'all, as a token of my grateful remembrance for you, for your many favors and constant love showed me, as well in my absence as when I was present with you. I could not at this time devise a better than to give you notice of some particulars both of our present estate and what happened since the departure of the Diana. And though I am well assured you will be satisfied hearing more fully by our governor, yet I desire your kind acceptance of this my poor endeavor. Presently after the Diana had her dispatch, Sir George Yeardley, according to a commission directed unto him and to the Council of State, caused Burgesses to be chosen in all places who met at James City, where all matters therein contained were debated by several committees and approved, and likewise such other laws enacted as were held expedient and requisite for the welfare and peaceable government of this commonwealth. Captain Martins Burgesses for his platoon, I guess that's Platacon, were not admitted to the assembly. The reasons I am assured you shall receive from our governor, who sent home a report of all those proceedings, page 242. Those principal men being at James City, Captain William Epps, who commanded Smith's Hundreds Company, was arraigned according to the laudable laws of England for killing one Captain Edward Rowcraft, alias Stillinge. He came hither from the North Colony in a ship of Sir Ferdinando George for some necessaries which he wanted, and to coast along the shore to find and discover what harbors and rivers he could. But through neglect of the masters of the ship and others, she was forced aground in a storm near Newport's News, and there sprang so great a leak that he could not carry her back again. This mischance happened through uncivil and unmanly words urged by Stillinge, there being no precedent malice, with which Captain Epps, being much moved, did strike him on the head with a sword in the scabbard, such an unfortunate blow that within 2 days he died. The jury, whereof Captain Lawn was forming a discreet and understanding man, hearing the evidence, found him guilty of manslaughter by Chance Medley. The governor, finding him, though young, yet a proper civil gent and a good host, not long after restored him to his command. Captain Henry Spelman, being accused by Robert Poole, one of the interpreters of the Indian language, of many crimes which might be prejudicial to the state in general and to every man's safety in particular, received censure at this General Assembly, but the governor, hoping he might redeem his faults, being proceeded much of childish ignorance, pardoned the punishment upon hope of amendment in trials whereof he was employed as interpreter to Potawatoms to trade for corn. So he was interpreter to the Indians. He knew the Indian language. He was interpreter to trade for corn. Now notice this, but they're telling you they had 20 so-called Africans. Why wasn't he an African? Why didn't he know Nigerian? Why didn't he know Swahili? He knew Indian languages though. And he said he had 20 so-called African slaves though. Makes a lot of sense to me. About the latter end of August, a Dutch man of war of the burden of 160 tons arrived at Point Comfort. The commander's named Captain Joe, his pilot for the West Indies, my nigga, one Mr. Marmaduke, an Englishman. They met with the treasurer in the West Indies and determined to hold consort ship hitherward, but in their passage lost one the other. He brought not anything but 20 and odd Negroes, which the governor and Cape Merchant bought for victuals. Well, he was in great need, as he pretended, at the best and easiest rates they could. He had a large and ample commission from his excellencies to range and to take purchase in the West Indies. So they talking West Indies, they talking Negroes. Africa is not mentioned anywhere. You can read through this whole thing. Africa is not there, only the West Indies. Africa is not there. They were never Africans. Let's start right there. They were never Africans. You're welcome to search this document for yourself. They were not Africans. It was from the West Indies, 29 Negroes. So the narrative though wants to tell you that they was Africans because they want to rob you of your land and they don't want you to know anything. They want to tell you the lie. These were Africans. Well, we know that's a lie. 1619, okay. So okay, well you say they was Africans. Well, even if they was Africans and you brought them in 1619, it was Negroes already there, as we see here. We see this colonizer throwing his little chains to the Indians. He got the Indian carrying chains behind him, then he throwing chains to another Indian. Now I know some idiot that don't know anything about history, that has not studied anything, that's what he a African booty scratcher from Shaka Zulu tribe. He gonna tell you that hey, this one on the left is a slave, an African slave, and the other one on here is an Indian. But that's just because they blinded and can't see that they're both Indians. One of the Indians just don't have his feathers on. They dress exactly the same way, not to mention that they both so-called black. They dressed exactly the same way. What, those little croaker sacks, this little cloth tie around his waist. My man here got on the same thing. You just ain't paid attention to it. Hold on. Slide over, we can see what we're looking at without the screen jumping over. Come on, man. See if they're gonna let me do it. Oh man, let me do it like this then. They might not let me do it right. But you can see he's dressed the same. He got his little croaker sacks on us. He got his waist cloth tied around his waist. Just like the other nog over here. His is white with darker colored croaker sacks on. His croaker sacks look like they're a little more khaki. But he clearly has his cloth tied around his waist the same way. Like I said, this Naga right here just don't have his feathers on like this Naga. But somebody gonna say, yeah, cause that's a slave and the other one's an Indian. What, you just stupid cause you don't know that they both black boys still. You just stupid. You don't know. Just face the facts that you don't know what you talking about sometimes. Just face the facts that you was lied to. You ain't know that two black boys, especially in Virginia, you know, tobacco. One might have his feathers on and one might not, even though they're dressed the same. They both have on the same loincloth, my naga. You must have your third eye open sometime. Don't be blind all your life. Don't just believe what somebody tell you all your life without looking at it for yourself and making up your own damn mind and saying, wait a minute. That's two Indians. They're dressed the same. So what? One doesn't have his feathers on. I've seen this before. Have your third eye open. So when they tell you this 1619, 20 and odd Negroes from Africa. Yeah, what about the Negroes that was already in America? We're gonna get into when we talk about the free Negroes that was in Virginia from 1619 all the way beyond to 1865. You know, they told you slavery, they brought you Negroes in 1619. And they told you that, yeah, there was no Negroes there. And they said, slavery ended in 1865. Then we let you Negroes free. Yeah, there was no Negroes in America until 1619. Yeah, there was nothing but white people. And we brought some African slaves over. What about the free Negro in Virginia in 1619? How could it be that 20 and odd Negroes is a phrase used to describe the first enslaved so-called Africans, but even though that ain't what they wrote, they want to tell you it was the first Negroes in America. How could that be? How could the first Negroes in America come in 1619 and they were slaves when it was free Negroes already here? All the way throughout the entire process of so-called slavery. Negroes was already here. So let's talk about it. The free Negro in Virginia that didn't come in 1619. He was already here. He wasn't the 20 and odd Negro. He was a Negro already in Virginia doing his own thing. You had to pay him to work. You had to pay these Negroes to work. They was already here. You didn't bring him. You didn't bring this black boy. You didn't bring the black boys right here. They was already here. They didn't come in 1619. So we know you're lying about it all. The free Negro in Virginia, 1619. I thought you said, Dr. Umar told me, hey, Saf in the house, salute, tribe up. Saf, hey, Dr. Umar told me.
Boom shakalaka!
One general in the house, salute. One general, salute. It's Dr. Umar told me that it wasn't, that all black people came from Africa. And you ain't get here to 1619. That Shaka Zulu and Kunta Kinte was real. And that you don't know what you're talking about, that you a sellout, that you afraid of who you are, and you hate yourself, you hate your black skin. You hate your black mama. They say you don't know nothing. They say you dumb. That's what Dr. Umar and them say. But he don't know that it was a whole bunch of black people already in America all since beginning of time. He didn't know this. He thought you got brought on the slave ship. He didn't know that the slave ships don't even exist. But anywho, let's continue. Let's look at the table of contents first. We'll take our time and sink our teeth into this one. We ain't gonna read 178 pages, of course, right? We're gonna just gloss over it and get what we want. Now I'm showing y'all these sources for y'all to read on your own time. I've read through this. I haven't read the whole thing quite yet, but I've read most of it. But it's up to you to read and get an understanding too. I'm showing you these sources not for me to sit here and read the whole thing all the time. It's for you to do some independent study, because you should know this stuff like the back of your hand. When these people try to tell you from Africa and you a booty scratcher and all this old stupid stuff, and that somebody else is supposed to be the Indian, you can say, no, you lying. I know for a fact you cannot lie to me. The number and distribution of the free Negroes. Look, they had to do a census. See, that's why they made the census. See, they knew how many white people and how many foreigners came over here from the ships. They had a record of who came on the ships. They had that. They had who was a convict on the convict ship. They had all the people information. They knew who the indentured slaves was. They had all that. They knew. The only people they didn't know about was you. That's why they had to count you up and number you. It said number and distribution of the free Negroes. We know we only brought 20 slaves from what they say, right? They say we brought 20 in 1619, but the rest of you, we need to count you up. We need to do a census. That's what they say. Yeah, enact the census. The first thing you need to do. As we discover the land, we're discovering Negroes. The origin of the free Negro class. They want to know where your origin. Look at that, chapter 2. Where did they come from? Where's his origin? Where did this free Negro come from? Where is his origin? What is that he's smoking? He's smoking something. These free Negroes, where are they from? He doesn't look African to me. Where are these free Negroes from? Give them a couple of colonizer trinkets. Where did these free nigglets come from? They wondering the whole time. They writing books about it. Way back since 1619, the origin of you Negroes. Now they want to say manumission. They say, well, we manumitted a few of them, but that doesn't explain the rest of them. They say the legal status of the free Negro. Wait a minute. I thought that was your legal status is free. What do they mean, the legal status of a free Negro? Your legal status is free, right? I mean, We call BS Podcast in the house, salute. I mean, that ain't hard. My legal status, what you either free or a slave, you a citizen or a non-citizen. I guess to be a citizen, you gotta be a slave. I guess to be free, you gotta be a non-citizen, right? Or a non-white, right? Whatever they wanna call, however they wanna put it, right? Say your legal status. They say the social status of the free Negro. They say, how are you socially perceived? They say this in 1619 in America, we're colonizing, we're discovering land, we're discovering Negroes. What are we to think about you Negroes? So that's what we see here. So let's start with chapter 1. Number and distribution of you Negroes. Where you Negroes come from. I don't want to read the preface and all that. I don't want to read somebody's opinion. The free Negro in Virginia, 1619 to 1865. Wait a minute, man. This is not adding up. I know, right? You've been lied to so many times. Right? We all been lied to. They say the number and distribution of the free Negroes in Virginia. They say we just talking Virginia. We ain't even talking about the rest of the Americas, the rest of the Indies, because we ain't even went everywhere yet. Columbus came down there to the islands in 1492, and 1619, almost 130 years later, we only made it to Virginia. We only made it to Virginia in about 130 years because we keep having to fight these niggas. Keep going to war with us. We're invading their land. We keep having to count them up. We're trying to enslave them. This is what's going down. They say at the beginning of the Civil War, there were in Virginia nearly 60,000 free Negroes. So the Civil War began before slavery ended.
You big dummy.
So before slavery ended, there was many as 60,000 free Negroes in Virginia alone. Yeah, this number, and see, this way hijack coming in, this number was far in excess of the number of free colored persons. See, look, did you see that? See what they just did? Wait a minute, I thought the Negro was the colored person. Let's run that back. It said at the beginning of the Civil War, there were in Virginia nearly 60,000 free Negroes. This number was far in excess. It was far greater to the number of free colored people. Wait a minute, free Negroes and free colors, what's the difference? There were more free Negroes than there was free colors? What are you trying to tell me here? In any other of the great slave states. So there were more free Negroes in Virginia than there was in any other great slave state. There were more free Negroes. This 60,000 free Negroes was far in excess to the number of free colored persons in any other of the great slave states, being about double the number in North Carolina, the state which south of Virginia had the largest free colored population. Wait a minute. If it was double that was in North Carolina, so it say the state of Virginia had double the state of North Carolina. The state which south of Virginia had the largest free colored population. Is this making sense to y'all? They're just mixing up stuff and say, wait a minute, Virginia had double the free Negroes as North Carolina, but North Carolina had the largest free Negro population. It's like they doing double talk. It was in excess of the free Negro population in any state, slave or free, with the exception of Maryland. In 1860, the entire number of Negroes in New York and New England combined was but little greater than the number of free Negroes in Virginia. According to every federal enumeration for 1790, the aggregate Negro population of the state of Pennsylvania was smaller than the free colored population of Virginia. And from 1830 to 1860, the same may be said of New York. At the beginning of the 19th century, the sum of the free Negro population in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania was only about 1,000 more than the number of free Negroes in Virginia. of the free Negro population of the United States, Virginia had about 1/8. The Virginia. The black boys. I don't know who the Virginia is, right? Let's remind you one more time before we proceed. Or if anybody knew that may not know. In Virginia, where all the free Negroes at. So it makes sense, though, when you understand that all the free Negroes was in Virginia. And you see, hold on, wait a minute, let's click on this one. When you see this one, this Virginia. When you see this, and we was the first one to discover this over on this YouTube streets. A rare circa 1900 tobacconist Indian black boy. They also called him a Virginian. It's down here it's down here in the description. It's a young Negro with white shorts and a gog expression. It says a young Negro. The young Indian Negro, right? They said what they said that they called him a Virginian. They say, look here at the bottom where they tell you to drop. They say now much more of a rarity. They say models like these were common in the late 19th century or the late 1800s and early to mid 20th century, standing either in the windows or out on the front or out on the door and used for dramatic advertising effect. The stylized depiction of a red Indian was used for tobacco advertising from around 1810. By 1860, the accepted sign for tobacco was the cigar store Indians. They changed it to the red man. But the free Negro, familiar Negro boy as a model. See, look, the black boy or the Virginians, called black boys or Virginians, Managa. So we know Virginia had one of the largest free Negro population. Who were these free Negroes? The free Negroes were Indians, Managa. It's just that simple. It's not very complicated. It's not very complicated. And there's so much evidence of it. And we're going to continue to read from what we was reading from. There's so much evidence of it, man. And then, like, when you connecting these kind of dots, I mean, like, they don't connect for no reason. All these free Negroes in Virginia. We know exactly why. We just going back connecting the dots to prove why. Just like this one. Another Virginian. Just like this one, we done looked at plenty of times. Just another Virginian. Let's click on them. And now I got a kitchen right there. I know it's Indian. Let's say 1790. This particular form is commonly referred to as the Virginia or the black boy style. Well-carved cigar store Indian. Yep. So we always use this one, the ones we always use because, I mean, like, it's undeniable. Anybody say, man, the Indians wasn't black, man. Shut your stupid ass up.
Now who sent you, nigga?
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
Fucking word, and this shit is over. And I ain't playing,
Shut
nigga.
up, man. It's 20 and our stupidity. In Virginia. All the free Nagas in Virginia. The free Negro in Virginia, 1619 to 1865, he was just an Indian. He was never a slave. The condition which made the free Negro question, they say the condition which made the free Negro question in Virginia unique and peculiarly interesting was that in that state, only was there so large a free colored population living in a society so vitally connected with and dependent upon slavery. They didn't know. They just knew it was a lot of you free Negroes in Virginia. They didn't know how many you was because they found you here. Of course they didn't know how many you was. They knew it was just a large number. We don't know how many of us. We need to do a census. Of course. Of course they didn't know. Why it was a peculiar question, right? Was there a so large free part living amongst a society so vitally connected to it with and dependent upon slavery? They say these Negroes are free. They say, wait a minute, if a slave escapes, he's going to get with these Negroes because their slave was an Indian too. It requires but little imagination to see why a free Negro population numbering from 20 to 60,000 between 1800 and 1860 and living among a slave population almost as numerous as the dominant white element created social problems more perplexing than those of New England, where the Negroes, few in number, were almost all free, and race problems different from those of other great slave states where the free Negroes were too few to constitute a conspicuous factor in the social order. With society in a large area of Virginia composed of about an equal number of masters and slaves, an additional element of free Negroes in the proportion of 1 to about 8 slaves acting in no sense as an aid to facilitating the association of the two races. Prior to a law of 1782, which removed the restrictions upon the right to manumit slaves by will, the number of free Negroes relative to the number of slaves or white persons was very much smaller than any decade after the passage of that act. From 1619 to the end of the century.
1619, you see? We brought some Africans over.
From 1619 to the end of the century, when custom and the law were fixing the status of the Virginia Negro, they were fixing the status of they were fixing your status, my nigga. From 1619 to the end of the century, when custom and the law were fixing the status of the Virginia Negro, no satisfactory statistical estimate, no estimate can be made of the number of free Negroes in the colony. How come you can't estimate the number of the free colony? We can't even estimate how many acres of land it is. How the hell we gonna estimate how many Negroes it is when we can't even estimate how much land it is yet? We only made it to Virginia by now. How we gonna know? How we gonna estimate the number of free Negroes when we in Negro land? How we gonna know? We can't even estimate the number of you Negroes. From 1619 to the end of the century, when custom and the law were fixing the status of the Virginia Negro, no satisfactory statistical estimate can be made of the number of you Negroes in the colony. In 1670, Governor Berkeley estimated the total number of black slaves in the colony at 2,000, although he made no reference to any free Negroes over 60,000. There is ample evidence to show that there were some in the colony at this time. In 1691 and 1723, laws were enacted which limited the increase of the free Negro class to natural means and to manumissions by special legislative acts. These limitations upon manumission remained in force until 1782, when, according to the reliable statement of a contemporary, the free Negro class numbered about 2,800. Supposing the 91 years between 1691 and 1782 to be sufficient time for the numbers of the free Negroes to have doubled 3 times by natural increase, we may judge. By counting backwards on the basis of Tucker's estimate in 1782 that in 1691 the number of free Negroes in the colony was about 350. How they know? They don't know. They trying to guesstimate. I would say it was more. I would say you enslaved free Negroes, and that's how the number got smaller, fool. The number got smaller, not larger. You enslaved these Negroes as you found them, and you said they were African. You found these Negroes in the jungle. You were discovering America. You were discovering Virginia. You was doing the westward expansion. You was doing Manifest Destiny. You was going all through the prairies. You was going all through the west, and you was finding Negroes. And you said, "Oh, must be an African. Put them in chains." Yeah, we added in history, man. American slavery. They've been lying for so long. They've been lying for so damn long. It's a damn shame how much these folks lie about history and how much they try to censor the truth. Because when you somebody on here trying to tell the truth, they gonna block your ass. They gonna make sure you're shadow banned. They don't want anyone knowing about these free Negroes in the colony. And we ain't finna read this whole thing. Like I said, it's 178 pages. I wanted to point out some of it. I wanted to point out what's important. Now look, we finna read this one more paragraph, and then I'm point out some other stuff though. These folks are very slick, and they just hoping you are very dumb. See, like if they depending on you not knowing and just being dumb and not caring. That's what their life depending on it. The frequency with which this class of persons is mentioned in church and court records between 1690 and 1682 gives a further appearance of reliability to the above estimate. In 1724, the reports of certain Virginia clergymen to the English bishop mentioned free Negroes amongst the petitioners, while certain others show that there were none. The report for St. Anne's Parish asserted that in the parish there are many Negro slaves, and that there may be 6 free Negroes. The rector of Lawrence Creek Parish reported that there are some Indians, bond and free, and some Negroes. See, they can't separate the Indian Negro. It didn't say there's some Africans. It's nope. They say the Indians, bond and free. They tell you there's some Indians enslaved and free. They're gonna say and some Negroes. They look at they
You big dummy.
These folks so stupid, man. They can't hide the truth, so they dress it in. Look, it says the rector of Lawrence Creek Parish reported that. Look, in quotations. How you know they being funny in quotations? Look, there are some Indians, enslaved and free, and some Negroes, slave and free. Okay, you ain't saying nothing. Some Indian slave and free, some Negro slave and free. You just saying black people. All of them Indians and all of them was Negroes. None of them was Africans. They were all Indians. You can be an Indian and a Negro at the same time. In fact, you have to be. To be an Indian, you have to be a Negro. But to be a Negro, to be an Indian, you have to be a Negro. But you have to be an American Negro. Not just any Negro. You are a particular Negro. You can't even be an Indian if you ain't a Negro. Cut it out.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
You ain't a Negro. If you ain't a Negro, you ain't no damn Indian. And just because you a Negro don't make you an Indian. If you ain't from over here, your ass ain't no Indian. I don't care how black your ass is. That don't make you no Indian just because you black. Stupid ass.
You big dummy.
Your ass a Hamite. Booty scratcher. You from over there. You gotta be a Negro and from over here to be an Indian. Them two things combined. You can't be nothing else. This is stupid. The answer for Newport Parish of Isles of Wright County is both bond and free. I know. And for August Parish on the Eastern Shore, there are infidels bond and free. The old parish, bro, we ain't finna read it all, man. Y'all need to read it though. This is a good read. It's so much dropping here, but you gotta take your time and read it. This ain't something you just read through, you just speed read and just go on through it. No, man, read the thing for real. Look at the graphs here. Read and understand. Look, 1790. Look now. Remember, they told you in 1808, they said don't bring no Africans. They made the mandate. They say you better not bring, matter of fact, don't bring nobody from nowhere, but better not be no African for sure. In 1808. But in 1820, look how the population blew up. Because they expanding west. They say, yeah, we done found everything in Virginia. Let's go west now. Let's go over here to Colorado. Uh-oh, more niggas. Now we got 400,000 slaves. And then the number of whites, I don't even believe that. Even though they be bringing a lot of colonizers in, but they bring these colonizers in quick. Just like they done brought all these, man. This is like America invaded all over again with these illegal aliens. Y'all should read this though. Y'all definitely, this is something you definitely want to check out. You ain't gotta read it all in one night. You can read some here, read some there. The origin of the free Negro. We're gonna touch a little bit on the origin. We're gonna see what these hijacks talking about on your origin. And then we can close the show out. But like I say, y'all should get on this one. This is the free Negro of Virginia, 1619 to 1865. The popular misconception of the beginnings of the free Negro population. See, they already starting off. The popular misconception. They say this misconception is popular. They say it's very popular to be dumb. Of the beginnings of the free Negro population in Virginia, which this chapter should correct, may be stated as follows. The first Negroes brought to Virginia in 1619 were from the very outset regarded and held as slaves for life. They and all Africans who came after them experienced immediately upon entering Virginia a perpetual loss of liberty, unlike the white servant, the white slave, whose freedom was only temporarily withheld. The freedom of the Negro could only be restored by an act of emancipation. This being so, the free Negro class was nothing but a divergence from or a byproduct of slavery, or a byproduct of slavery. How? Depending in its origin and existence upon the disintegration of slavery. This erroneous view was expressed by slavery apologists of the decade immediately preceding the Civil War as follows. Every Negro in this country or his ancestors came in as a slave. Every Negro legally free has reached that condition by his ancestors or himself having been emancipated by a former master. Now that is incorrect. How could you... Okay, if Negroes didn't come to 1619, how could there be free Negroes in 1619? You can't say Negroes came as slaves in 1619 and some Negroes eventually got emancipated. Well, if you finding free Negroes in 1619, you ain't had no time to emancipate nobody. They ain't did no time yet. I mean, this is just praying people are not this kind of blatant stupidity is just praying people are not paying attention, because you're putting it in quotations, every Negro in this country. Stop lying. You don't know every Negro in this country. You ain't even found every Negro yet. You don't know us and our ancestors. Every Negro came through as a slave, huh? Man, I wish I could battle these people, man. I would battle anyone, any fake educator, any politician, any government. They don't want none of me. When it comes to this, I would make them change before we finish. They do not want to debate with me against this, because they're gonna run in circles of lies. Circle of lies. Every nigga came, you Negroes came as a slave, and the only reason some of you might be free is because you got manumitted. Yeah. We believe you. Look, say this popular era. They say that's an error. They say that's a popular error. They say every Negro in this country and his ancestors came as a slave. They say this is a popular error, a popular lie. Is maintained and supported by a large number of writers who have discussed the introduction of Negroes into America. This popular lie is pushed by the mainstream legacy media. This popular lie, this very popular lie, is even being taught to your children in school today. Hey, Molten Gate in the house, salute. Joe Wilson in the house, salute. Teaching this, continuously teaching this lie over and over again, over and over and over and over again. This popular era is maintained. It's maintained. They doing maintenance on this lie. They say, you know, we gotta let's update the lie. They doing an update like you be updating your laptop. They do an update on the lie. They say, you know, we gotta modify the lie a little bit. We gotta make it fit a little better. Change a few things. Change that Negro to African. 20 odd Africans. Say we gotta do maintenance on this lie. We gotta support this lie by a large number of writers who have discussed the introduction of Negroes. You didn't introduce us nowhere. We introduced America to you.
You big dummy.
Biatch. Boom shakalaka.
Besides Virginia, historians such as Burt, Campbell, and Cook, who through thoughtless interference have written the word slave where they should, in view of all the evidence before them, have written Negro. Wow. Damn, that's cold there.
Boom shakalaka.
I like that one. This writer is all right here. They say besides Virginia, historians such as Burke, Campbell, and Cook, who through thoughtless interference have written the word African or slave, where they should simply, in view of all the evidence before them, have simply written Negro or Indian or Negro Indian or Indian Negro. There are two classes of writers who have given credence to the theory, I guess, as a means of support of some cause of which they were the champions. Y'all gotta read this, man. We'll be up all night because I'll be done read it. I'll be done sat in here and try to read it all on y'all ass. Y'all know me, I like to read, you know, a book a day, keep a dummy away.
You big dummy.
A book a day, keep a Pan-African away.
Big dummy.
You know, that's what I do. I be getting up, bro. I be getting up in the morning. Hey, Nikki Sunflower in the house, salute. A book a day, keep a booty scratcher away. Your booty scratching ass up out of here. A book a day, that's all you need. Book a day, keep Dr. Umar away. Yeah, y'all gotta read this stuff, boy. Gotta read this stuff, man. Don't be blind all your life. I've been sat in here and tried to go through all this. Y'all be like, this black nigga, Blackjack, don't stop. This not gonna just be just reading his ass off. I know his eyes hurting. And he ain't got a headache by now. but for real, on the serious note, y'all need to check it out. Read it, show it to your kids, man. Show it to your kids, man. We ain't doing this for nothing. I hope y'all don't think this for nothing, man. This is for the kids. Blackjack love the kids. Hold on, where it's at? And put the title back up on the screen one more time so you can show the kids. Cause I want them to go challenge their teacher. So go give your teacher a challenge. Send the kids to school with a challenge for the teacher. Let them teach the teacher a thing or two. Hey, I'ma link the Mort Gator. I'ma link the paper. I'ma link the PDF on my community post. Anybody who want access to this, I'ma link it in the community tab. The Free Negro in Virginia, 1619. Don't believe in that Shaka Zulu stupid ass shit, man. They be pissing me off with that stuff, man. Cause I be having, cause it's like it's a waste of time to have to argue against it. You know how much time and energy is wasted having to argue against some 16 and 19, 20 odd Africans. It's like, oh man, we really gotta argue against this. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's how, you know. A human guy in the house say no proof of kingdoms. What kingdoms you mean, bro? What human guy? What you mean no proof of kingdoms? What kingdoms you talking about? Hey, the Free Negro in Virginia. Human guy. You say no proof of kingdoms. What you mean? We'll show you one right quick, Kingdom real quick. We did a lot of live streams on Kingdoms. El Rey Negro, you ever heard of a human guy? You ever heard of El Rey Negro? I'll show you one. I'll show you a kingdom. There were plenty though. All the kingdoms was black. Every last one of them. You ever heard of El Rey Negro? El Rey Negro, huh? Bet you ain't never heard of El Rey Negro. We did a live stream on El Rey Negro, the last black king of Bolivia. You don't know about the king? El Rey Negro. I love a challenge, man. Like I say, can't nobody get with me in this. I'm gonna make a dummy out you if you try. You know what I'm saying? I know this history. This is my hobby. Like some people have baseball cards, they hobby. This is my hobby. I know it like the back of my hand. History is my hobby. El Rey Negro, the last black king of Bolivia. The last black king of America, some might say. Look at that, they got the diplomats. There's your boy, there's the Democrat. Look at that, the Democrat handing on the throne. You see that? Hey, Molten Gator, that's the name of the book right there. The Free Negro in Virginia, 1619 to 1865. That's the name of the book. The Free Negro in Virginia. I'ma link it in my community post though. I'm gonna put the link in the post, but you can easily find this. Just put the Free Negro in Virginia, 1619 to 1865, PDF. And it's the PDF is all over the place actually. It's here, Internet Archives. Look, African Virginias. That's a hijack. That's a hijack right there. Yeah, but all the kings and look at that. That's why we all had these crowns on. Notice his crown look like notice the last great king of Bolivia. Notice his crown. El Rey Negro. Notice his crown look like a feather headdress. See, you gotta not be blind. His crown looks the same as this Naga's crown because it is the same. It's feathers. It's representing feathers. That's what's representing. You can't be an idiot. He's an Indian. You can't not know what you're talking about. Just go blabbing off at the mouth. You gotta have your third eye open. I got very strong vision. You can't outsee me. You could try, but not many people have survived trying to outsee Blackjack. You're gonna lose. You might get blown out like Kamala did, you know what I'm saying? He got a gold crown. He got a gold feather crown on. They go last black Indian king. They go to kingdom. Hey man, I'm Blackjack, man. It's House of Cons, man, y'all. We out, man. Editing history one more time. Peace, salute.